video, we're going to set up a baseline and then we're going to show it on our Gantt chart so that we can track against it. I'm going to drag this out a bit so that you can see it a little bit more widely. Perfect. So the first thing you're going to do is go to Project and go to Maintain Baselines. This is going to become the space where you maintain all the different baselines you may associate with this project. So the first time you create a baseline, you want it to be when your schedule is as far along and pretty much perfect as you think it's going to be. And what you want to do is take a snapshot of it as a picture of that moment in time, that picture in time when you thought your schedule was perfect and you were ready to start the job. So to do that, you're going to go ahead and click Add. And it gives you a couple different options. If you had another schedule saved somewhere else, you could use this Convert Another Project, but we don't have that. So instead, we're going to say save a copy of the current project as a new baseline. And we're going to hit OK. And it's going to create Tiny Homes Pool B1, meaning baseline 1. You can write over this if you'd like and call this initial baseline or primary baseline or something like that. But whatever it's going to be, that one that you just saved is a snapshot or a picture of the schedule that you've just developed that now as you go through your project, you're going to compare to. So you might get into a crisis at some point where your schedule needs to be totally redone. Something hits a snag and we need to rethink how we're going to build this thing. At that point, you may establish another baseline. But for most jobs, we like to work off of that first picture as our snapshot and then compare back to it. So once you've done that and gone ahead and maintained and created that baseline, you're going to hit close. The next step is to take a look at that. So you're going to go back to projects and click on Assign Baselines. And here's where you can assign the specific baseline for the project. So under Project Baseline, you're going to click on the drop-down menu and select whatever that baseline is that you just took a picture of. So we're going to do that for our project baseline as well as our primary baseline. And here you see they call out secondary and tertiary, which is your third baseline. As I mentioned, that might be if you get in a crisis mode and really need to redo your schedule, you may want to track against some other baselines. All we have to do here under Assign is just click the drop-down menu and pick the one that you just created and hit OK. Now it doesn't look any different. But what really happened is we took a picture of the schedule that we have currently, we slid it behind our current schedule in order to be able to compare the two. And I can show you how we can see what's going on here by using our bar styles. So if I right click in my Gantt chart and go to bars, we're going to go back and take a look at the ones that are available options for us to add into our picture. The third one down is the primary baseline, and it shows that it is in yellow. If I go ahead and display the primary baseline, so I just selected it, and you'll see this little green window here, and I hit apply. Now you'll see, and I hit OK. Now you'll see that underneath it, I have this yellow baseline that's being shown up. So when you create your PDF for this week, you need to make sure that you've assigned that baseline. When you go back to bars, you're going to make sure that the primary baseline is selected here, the one that shows you the yellow bar. And you also want to make sure that you show it for the milestones to make sure that we're keeping track of those. So for the baseline milestone, you also want to go ahead and hit display. And now you're going to have a yellow baseline milestone underneath each milestone in your schedule, as well as a yellow baseline line under each task that has a duration. And as we go ahead and update our schedules throughout this project, you'll see how your schedule is going to change relative to what your baseline is. And that will help us gauge if we're on track or we're behind or how we're doing. So that is why we would apply a baseline.